So let me start by saying this. The MLAstro SAL-33 caught my attention before I ever touched one. Not because of the specs, but because MLAstro is already talking about automatic polar alignment and even bigger future harmonic mounts. When a small company is thinking beyond version 1, that's when my astrophotography spidey senses start tingling. Either they're very confident or very brave. Turns out, it's a little bit of both. My name is Ali Labeiri, and welcome to Astra Pharma. The SAL-33 is a harmonic mount built around high-precision strain wave gears on both RA and declination, paired with a zero-shift alt as base for polar alignment, which is a big selling point for this mount. What does that mean? Well, it means no traditional worm gears, very little or virtually non-existent mechanical backlash, and polar alignment that doesn't shift after locking things up. In fact, one of the things that distinguishes the base of this mount is the fact that you can polar align while everything is locked up. This is a big deal to me and others who image out in dark sites where every second counts. When I received the mount, it came with nothing more than the azimuth adjustment screws and an Allen key, and whatever this screw is, I couldn't find any missing screws on the mount, so I assume it's been mistakenly included. There was no cables whatsoever either. I keep a stockpile of those things, so it didn't really matter to me, but it is something to keep in mind. Finally, for some reason, I am sure this was done at some point during the shipping when it was crossing borders, the plastic cover that was supposed to cover the mount was neglectfully placed at the bottom, not above the mount where it was supposed to be, leaving the mount protected by a single layer of cardboard. It was clear to me that the package was inspected and then neglectfully repackaged, and that this was done at some point after it was shipped by MLAstro. I did inspect the mount and it did have some signs of rough handling and a few worrisome hits, especially this one right here. As you might imagine, seeing that it really has me worried. I mean, it just looks heartbreaking on a brand new mount. I did open up the mount though to check for damage, but I couldn't see any obvious signs, and when I screwed the plate back on, it did look a lot better and the gap disappeared. Anyways, let's just proceed with the review and pretend that didn't happen. We'll see if it did have any negative impact on the mount later on. The first thing I did, after shedding a few tears, was I screwed in the TC40 adapter onto the base of the mount. The mounting for the SAL-33 is the same as the AM5, though the mount does not come with any adapters or means of attaching it to a tripod. Those are sold separately. Before first use, I do recommend that you screw in or out the altitude adjustment knob to make sure that you have an equal in and out travel distance on the thread. Then you can loosen this screw right here on both sides, loosen the altitude adjustment knob and adjust your altitude roughly using the markings on the mount and this little groove right here. When you're done doing that, you can then retighten everything up. I'll also use this opportunity to show you these markings right here, which are used to determine the correct home position for the mount. The mount does not have a homing sensor, but with these markings you can align it perfectly and set a home position that the mount can return to precisely. If you would like to set the home position at deck 0, you can also use this groove right here on the saddle as reference. If you want tutorials on how to do all of that, I will link to MLAstro's main channel where everything is explained with more details. So let's talk payload and drivers. The mount functions using OnStep. It's an open source control platform for German equatorial mounts, and I've mentioned before that this has been tested and proven time and time again. The drivers are constantly being updated by the community. You have ASCOM drivers for Windows and Indie drivers for Linux-based control units like ECOS on the StellarMate, or even the ASI Air and Talktech Stella Vita. As far as payload is concerned, I was surprised by the honesty here. According to MLAstro, you're looking at roughly 15 kilograms visually without a counterweight, pushing up to 20 kilograms with a counterweight. But they do recommend that for imaging, a more sensible figure would be around 10 to 14 kilograms. But of course, that really depends on how sane your expectations are. The documentations around this mount do not pretend physics don't exist, and I respect that. So you may or may not have noticed that these figures are close to identical to the ZWO AM5N. Maximum payload, they both weigh almost the same at around 5.3 kilograms, and they both use Type 17 strain wave gears, but one is half the price of the other. So later in this video, we're going to put these two side by side and run them at the same time with the exact same telescope, guide camera, OAG, tripod and peer, and I'll even try to guide on the same guide star. Basically, we'll see which one performs better when we use them under the same scene conditions and with 100% identical rigs, and I mean down to the cables. If this mount can outperform the AM5N, it would be a very impressive feat to say the least. But one thing the AM5N can brag about is through the mount cabling, which does not exist on the SAL-33. You have your usual USB 2.0 Type B control port, as well as the 12-volt DC power input on the RA, as well as the forbidden ST4 guiding port, which nobody uses. I read through the FAQ page on MLAstro.com and they mentioned that this was a conscious choice to keep the price of the mount down, and honestly, when you hold the thing in your hands, it does feel incredibly solid and well built, so I could understand the need to sacrifice a few quality of life features to keep the price down. Remember, this thing is half the price of the AM5N. I actually read that the price might go up at some point if the demand increases. Again, I do appreciate the transparency. There is one more thing that I need to mention before I take this mount out into the field, and I'll bring it to your attention. and that's the locking knobs on the saddle. They protrude upwards far too much, which usually wouldn't be a problem unless you have a very wide Losmandy style dovetail like the Ascar 400 LDP, the standard dovetail that comes with my 140mm apo refractor. In that case, the knobs do interfere and prevent you from mounting your gear. As you can see here, it protrudes up and pushes against the base of the dovetail, making it impossible to fully lock into place. Annoying though it was, a quick trip to my local hardware store was all I needed. I grabbed a slightly longer screw to replace the original one and then a bunch of washers to use as spacers. I came back home, unscrewed the original one and replaced it with the washers included. And voila, the mount now looks slightly more industrial than before. I personally don't mind, but it's such a weird little oversight. I don't get it. But anyways, now that the mount was ready to carry my 140 apo, I was ready to test it under the stars. And here we go. As you can see here, we're all set up with two completely identical setups, down to the guide camera, here, and tripod. The only variable that has changed is the mount, and we're going to see which one of those two performs better. So, how did it go? Well, I'm happy to say that the mount performed really well, and yeah, that base is wonderful for polar alignments. It took me less than 5 minutes to get an accurate polar alignment, which was a few minutes faster than I managed with the AM5N. I also duplicated my Nina profile and used the mount with the default OnStep settings that it came with and had no issues with the meridian flip. Everything went really well. My average guiding with the SAL-33 was 0.5 RMS. I took the average of multiple guiding sessions from the log file, while the AM5N performed slightly better at 0.44. You know what, potatoes. Honestly, I couldn't be happier with my purchase. I really do like this polar alignment system and I can't wait to see how they can automate it. Aside from my little issue with the locking knobs, I couldn't really find anything else that I didn't like. Power and USB on the saddle would be nice, but I use a mini PC and the AM5N's 3 amp port isn't really enough, so I don't really use it anyways. A homing sensor would also be nice, though the mount returns home accurately every time. I tested it multiple times. If it's a feature that would drive up the price too much, then I could also do without it. Finally, I just checked the price and it did indeed go up for the SAL-33 and it now retails at $1,240. Still $750 less than ZWO's AM5N. I personally think it's still worth it. It is a great mount. It performed really well with a quite heavy payload. Anyways, I do hope that you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed making it. Please do like, comment and subscribe if you did. This has been Astropharma and thank you for watching.